Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we are going to be talking about the heat wave sales. So July 4th sales are, well, effectively they're starting on June 27th, but still counting them as July the 4th sales. And before we actually get to my thoughts and opinions and breakdown, as many of you guys have requested, I do want to remind you guys that you should by no means compromise your real life circumstance for in-game offers. Do not spend what you cannot afford to spend. I myself have not been in the best of places in recently to be able to afford to spend money on the game. And if I did take part in some of the recent sales, that is 100% down thanks to you, my viewers, rather than my own finances. And other than that, also within the last year, I have skipped more sales than ever. And yeah, I have noticed, my account not being as big, comparatively speaking, to the top tier accounts anymore. But it does not mean that I can't play or enjoy this game. It always sucks to miss out. FOMO is always real. But again, stay strong. Do not compromise your life for any given sale. Especially considering that whatever Kabam is selling you today for $100, they're going to be selling to you for $50 in 6 months. They're going to be selling it to you for $10 in a year. As a proof of that, I'm going to bring up, let's say, Hunter's Market. So this is, from 6 months ago, a bit more than 6 months ago. This is from December, November 29th till December. So that was the biggest sale 6 months ago, one of the biggest sales of the year. And as you can see, there's not even a single rank 4 material because rank 4s were not available. And the grand prize there was 2 to 3 gem and, a Titan Nexus and, stuff like that. And some more 2 to 3 gems and 2023 selector. So, again, keep that in mind. These things always look incredibly outdated by the time the next big sale runs around. And that is exactly what we can see here in the tiered unit offers. And here's the red and dead discount shed. This is more recent. This obviously happened a couple months ago, and effectively this is also the best kind of gauge that we can use for predicting July 4th sales. And in total, this effectively offered us 2.5, 3 rank 4s at most. So I do think we will see an increase on that, but I do not think we will see a drastic increase in the amount of rank 4s available. However, there are a couple of things they did extremely well on this Red and Dead's discount shed, and I'm going to touch on that a bit more later on. But the base point is that this sale, I think, for most part, unanimously was kind of loved by the player base, opposed to the controversy of Heart of Fire sale. And the reason for that was that it didn't feel anybody there getting completely left in the dust if you're not wailing out, because again, 2 rank 4s is, hardly end of the world. But at the same time, it did give free-to-play players a chance to target a very specific champion that they were missing, and that was a feel-good story. And I think Kabam actually kind of unlocked a massive, gold mine, or a very great avenue of incentivizing people to spend even moderately by giving players ability to hunt specific champions with these rare champion selectors. And I do think they are bound to return. I do think they have been a good experience all around. I think players loved it. I think they were useful to players' accounts. I think Kabam loved it. And I do think we will see these type of things coming back with different champion pools. Again, be they specific Alliance Crystal or Incursions Crystal or the Gifted Guardians or Reunion champions or specific yearly champions that we are chasing. Launch pool, now Kabam could make some sort of rework selector or Incursions chase champion selectors and all sorts of things of that nature that people would love, because despite everybody in community being very much so against, champions that are behind, a paywall, and I do think that is not overall good for community. And despite that being a ridiculously large amount of champions that are not in the base pool that Kabam offers, in some sort of specific sales, that has a pleasant side effect of, Kabam having the ability. They basically kind of created the problem because, the exclusivity of these champions wouldn't be as appealing if they were in the base pool, obviously. Since they're not in the base pool, and the odd times when Kabam does give us an opportunity to acquire them in a targeted fashion, it, does serve as some sort of a reprieve or the ease of the pressure of the Kabam's monetization system. So I do think we're going to see more of these champion selectors there as well. So that said, let's jump to the spreadsheet and go overall thoughts. Sorry, I did not change the title here. So this is July 4th sales 2025. There you go. So make predictions always based on the last spring cleaning for July 4th, and then on last July 4th for Cyber Weekend, and then on the last Cyber Weekend for spring cleaning. I think that kind of goes without saying. We do still have these 3 major kind of like sales events, and not counting in the banquet there, that effectively kind of shows us where we are taking our base for these predictions from, and then effectively kind of upping it or doubling it, because that is more or less the way game is moving. So the last several sales have been modest compared to the July 2023 sale. And that is one of the biggest points of contention that I wanted to talk about, because I have heard some people expecting like 8 to 10 new rank 4s or something like that. And I am here to tell you that I am willing to bet that that is not going to happen. You're not going to see 10 new rank 4 7 stars in a July 4th sale. The reason being for that is the top tier endgame accounts, like, relatively kind of like high up, not the mega whales, but kind of like competitive accounts currently have around, 8, 9, 10 maybe. Let's say 8 to 9 rank 4 7 stars. And last time, all hell broke loose when Kabam effectively offered similar or larger amount of top tier endgame progression than the players could acquire till that point by doing all the content, by participating in majority of the sales. So that is what caused like a massive issue, massive shift, and that forced a lot of people leave. And I'm sure Kabam saw that reflected in general sentiment of the community. Just about everybody in CCP was dissatisfied with that sale. Just about every video creator was dissatisfied with that sale. Forums were literally on fire for the simple reason that one sales event effectively offset entirety of players' endgame progression up until that point by allowing you to do more rank ups to the highest level that was available in the game combined up until that point. So Kabam has taken that to heart, and we have not seen a single sale that kind of like even comes close to the amount of total top end progression. So that means that if an average endgame player has, let's say, 8 to 9 rank 4s, there has not been a single sale that would offer a similar amount of top end progression, whether we're talking about rank 3s 7 stars, whether we're talking about rank 4 7 stars. So I think at most we would be looking at 5 to 7, I think, rank 4s, and that's pushing it. I think it's like 5 6 or 4 6, something like that. Realistically, I think 5 is about a solid number of rank 4s that we can expect. I do not see them adding a full-on rank 4 on Odin. I think it's probably going to be something like 2 tier 7 basics. Because if you sell 4 Odins, that would be 4 rank 4s immediately there. And then they would, again, at the bare minimum, put into... maybe there's a rank 4 in Odin, but then there's... I doubt it. I think it's going to be like 2 tier 7 basics. I don't think it is going to be a full-on rank 4 for an Odin on a personal level. I might be wrong with that. It might be like a class rank up gem there. But we'll see how that happens. Again, I do think 5, 7, 4, 6, something in that area of new rank 4s that will come out of these sales. There'll be a milestone track again in a web store and likely in the game too, as Human Torch is likely going to be in both. And this I think we can take from the Red Guardian situation, where effectively if you were paying cash, it was significantly easier to acquire Red Guardian. It was like $400 or $500 to get Red Guardian via spending cash in the web track, and then it was 36k units to get that Red Guardian from the units track. So I do think we're going to see something to similar effect, where if you are spending cash on this sale, there will be a lower threshold in acquiring the 7-star Human Torch than there is if you are mainly or exclusively spending units on this event, which I still think Kabam is going to make it possible for you to do, but I do not think it is going to be as cheap. So I do think that's going to be the 36k units. So WebStore has started to affect in-game bundles limits. So again, before you buy, typically WebStore has the best deals, especially with the milestone tracks. So definitely do not rush to buy anything in-game if you have access to WebStore. Expect around 36k units spend max. That I think is fairly standard. I doubt Kabam is going to go much higher than that. And then obviously Human Torch is a chase champion, we know that. At max, there will be like 20, 25 7-stars obtainable, guaranteed. Obviously, Kabam's going to be sprinkling in Valiant crystals. I do not think this number changes particularly much from sale to sale. I do think the types of champions we can acquire and the types of crystals we can get changes. If previously it was like bigger accent on just generic 7-star crystals or class 7-star crystals, so on and so forth, then Kabam is realizing that the value of base 7-star shards is significantly plummeting because there aren't too many champions that the endgame players are chasing in the base 7-star crystal. And also, like on a personal experience, as not somebody who's like a massive whale, but somebody who plays this game actively. Like if I open 10 7-star crystals, I'm happy for like a single good pull of something they actually want. And that is natural because the longer time goes, the more champions I have from that 7-star base pool, the less likely I am going to pull something that I want, like a dupe on a specific champion or a champion that I'm missing. Because at this point, there's like 5 champions, 7 champions in a base pool that I'm missing that I'd be happy to see. But that means that vast majority of the champions would be kind of like dud dupes or double dupes for me. So again, I do think that total amount of 7-stars we can get from these sales do not change much, but there is a heavier focus on these specific crystals, the Saga crystals or the Titan crystals, or champions that hold some sort of bigger exclusivity rather than the base pool of 7-stars. So Time C's second ever 7-star generic gems final unit offer, I do think we're going to see about 2 to 3 7-star awakening gems. Because Kabam has now introduced the 7-star awakening gem shards. We're likely going to see some in the unit offers. We're definitely almost guaranteed going to see some of those in like the Odin's offers, where you can form a handful of 7-star awakening gem crystals. And I do think we are going to get a 7-star awakening gem generic one as the final unit offer that is likely going to cost you 36k units. So another thing, Kabam has been slow in general availability of 7-star 6 stones. And before I get any further, what are the 3 biggest chase items? What are the 4 biggest chase items right now? 7-star 6 stones, 7-star awakening gems, Titan crystals and Titan nexuses, because Kabam has done a great job in kind of revitalizing Titan crystals themselves. So those are very, very valuable right now, by the extension of the recent champions being very good. And then Tier 7 basics, obviously, rank 4 materials. So those are like the 4 things the players are after. Out of all of those 4 things, I'd say that rank 4 materials are kind of being made more available compared to others, but 7-star 6 stones have been strangely absent from the game just about everywhere. Like we're not really getting many or any 7-star 6 stones from like side event a month. There's a bit from the Valiant EQ, but nothing major. We just had the Wheel of Fate, or Wheel of Fortune, how I like to call it, and it didn't have a single 7-star 6 stone. That was like strangely odd. And I do think that was done with the purpose to kind of hype up the necessity of these 6 stones, because right now just about every single player is desperately hunting for 7-star 6 stones. As a virtue of the change of Titan pool, lots of people hoarded for that, and the Wheel of Fortune allowing us, to go for Titan nexuses or selected specific 7-stars. And yeah, I do think basically community is in desperate need of 7-star 6 stones because of the shortfall that Kabam has created on them. So I do think we're going to see about 200 to 400 6 stones total, which is a fairly large amount. That's actually a fairly bold prediction. But I do think that a significant portion of them are going to be like Saga restricted. And the reason for that is also to kind of ensure that people, if they choose to do so, have the kind of like easier option to sig up their torch if they choose to do that. By the way, I don't. His prestige sucks and he doesn't need his sig level. But I do think we're going to see a significant amount of Saga sig stones. And I do think we're going to see like 150 generic ones or 200 generic ones. But in total, I would definitely be willing to bet on a range of 200 to 400 total 6 stones splattered in between the unit and cash offers. Titan crystals and Titan nexuses are guaranteed to return as one of the hottest items in the game right now. As I mentioned before, Kabam has done a great job in kind of like creating this market for Titan crystals and their desirability, with effectively, making so that most or all the champions almost there are good. Looking at you, stupid Falcon and Red Hulk, but one step at a time. At the very least, Titan crystals are definitely much more desirable than they were like half a year ago. So I think it's definitive that we're going to see Titan nexuses back, and there's going to be Titan shards, and so on and so forth. question is going to be to save or open them right now, but we'll get to that a bit later. I do think we will see 2 tier 7 basics in Odin's alongside Awakening Gem Shards and some special crystals, as I mentioned before. Because previously, last 2 sales, Kabam has done like these class selectors where you kind of like have class specific 7 stars. I don't think those are much good or much valuable. They do not hold, you know, much desirability, again, because of the reasons I explained for the base pool. There aren't that many champions people are chasing, and them not even being Nexus class crystals kind of significantly, you know, reduce your odds of actually pulling something good from them. So I do hope that they either are Titans or Titan Nexuses, or are of some sort of, you know, specific crystal pool that is more desirable than the basic one. I do think we are likely to see potential for 4 to 6 7-star rank 4s. As I said, maybe 5 to 7. Cash offers having majority of them always. So if you're gonna see, you know, let's say 6, then I think around 4 or 3.5, well, probably 4 of the rank 4s will come from cash offers, 2 from the units. If it's going to be 7, then I'd say 4 and 3, something like that. But the base idea is that you always get more of the top end rank up material in the cash offers than you do with the units. I do believe there will be lots of 2 and 3, 3 gems, tier 6 basics, tier 6 CCs, and tier 3 alphas, as Kabam has created a huge demand for them in the lower offers. And again, that happened due to 2 reasons, and one of the main ones being Kabam excluding these materials entirely from the recent endgame contents, or to, you know, significant degree. We didn't receive many of them. Second, one of that is because in the spring cleaning sale, we had effectively a choice whether to chase the rank 4s or a huge amount of rank 2 to 3 materials or a specific champion. And most of the people did not go for, rightfully so, by the way, they did not go for more rank 3s, for instance. Because if you do how to make a cost, you kind of prioritize, and having more rank 4s is important than having rank 3 materials, and having a targeted champion is more important than having rank 3 materials. And because players had the choice, they made, in my opinion, the right choice. But again, because of that and the fact that Radiance is doing a similar thing where players kind of have to choose what they invest in, and they are typically pushing what they perceive to be the best value of new rank 4s. Effectively, community is very, very low in tier 6 basics, tier 3 alphas with just about any player that I'm talking about. And the final nail in the coffin here was majority of the players actually hoarded Titan shards to hunt for the new champions added to the Titan crystal. And then immediately they had like 5, 6, 7 champions they want to rank up, and you quickly realize that you can't rank up all of them. Myself included, I still have several champions that are at rank 1 that I would absolutely want to take up to at the rank 3, at the very bare minimum. And I think Kabam is smart enough to capitalize on that. So we'll see quite a lot of that. So, as most, one of the time there will be one set of cash offers dedicated largely to 6 stones, typically Stony Starks or Black Panther. So that has always been just about the case in Cyber Weekend, in July 4th, and just about any big sale. There is one specific set of cash offers that largely is just 6 stones. And I think that also at the moment probably holds one of the best values. So if you do have a limited budget to spend, I probably will highly recommend you go and seek that out. It's typically going to be Tony Stark's briefcase. Sometimes it's Black Panther, but if there's one offer that you want to max out on, aside from Odin's, it's typically the 6 stone one. So definitely do kind of pay extra attention to that one. Likely gonna, you know, contain like 30 to 50 6 stones there. So keep an eye out for that. I'll obviously be making a video kind of like reviewing the sales line. I think selected champion targeting from exclusive pools was a great success for Kabam. So we are bound to see a return of custom-made selectors. I'm like 99% sure of this. I think Kabam found effectively a gold mine for them. I think players love them. I think it's good business for Kabam. And I think Kabam would be fools not to bring these specific selectors back. And, you know, volumes as well. Relic stuff obviously is set to return with rank up gem shards, so on and so forth. With separate offers, I do not think they're going to be mixed up with the generic stuff anywhere close to that. And remember, if you obtain the crystals now and wait until the pools change, the old crystals will also have their pool updated. So that might be something that you consider doing. overall, those are my predictions. Again, to make it clear, I do think we're going to see a generic 7-star gem as well as a couple of 2-3 gems. Sorry, as well as a couple of class gems. I do think in total we're going to see about, let's say 5 to 7 rank 4s, 4 to 6, 5 to 7, something in that area. I do not think we're going to see more than 6 or 7. I think that's about the max that can Kabam sell and get away with it. And again, I do think we're going to see more of these targeted selectors, obviously Titan Nexus, because there's huge demand for them. I do think we're going to get a fairly large amount of 7-star signature stones. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. And remember, Kabam is not selling you anything you will not be able to obtain later on in the game for less. Keep that in mind. I'll catch you guys soon though. Bye-bye. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about